This is the specialized Globe Haul ST e-cargo bike. And trust me when I say that this is a very interesting bike. There is a lot going on here. But where do I start? How about a little video montage? Hope you enjoyed that. I've only had this bike for a few days, so this is going to be, I'm going to cover a lot of subjects, but this is really just a first impression review. Expect a part 2 and part 3 as I learn more about this, take it on adventures, and really customize and personalize this darn thing. First of all, what is it exactly? Well, exactly is kind of a misnomer because it's many things to many people, but I'll attempt to go through the categories that it fills. So it is a cargo bike, Haul ST. ST stands for short tail. So this being the tail, most cargo bikes have a really long tail, so you can carry a lot of stuff, or a really long nose. You carry it there. But this is just kind of a, dipping your toes in the water, so to speak. So its main job is to haul your stuff, one destination to another. Short trips, grocery trips, 4 Trader Joe's bags, your pickleball rackets, your trips to the park. Some of those short trips, instead of using that car, use this little thing. And you're guaranteed to get a little bit of exercise and get a smile on your face. The other purpose would be a commute bike. Short trips for sure, commute to school, bring the kid to school right here, go to work 20 miles away in any weather. So use it as a commuter. Another one is a utility bike, maybe a beach cruiser, maybe as a little work van, carry deliver your goods, go to the UPS. And then another possibility is as an adventure bike. Go to bigger adventures, carry your fishing poles, your tent, go bike camping, bike packing, what have you. Just a hint of the possibilities of this bike. In my few days with it, I'm realizing it's like a canvas, and it's I think succinct that it's black, it's flat black, because you could, I'll have an artist paint something on it that typifies what I'm gonna do with the bike. Kind of like you buy a Sprinter van, it's best to buy it bare, and you customize it to how you're gonna use it, what kind of adventure you're gonna take it on. So before we go nuts with the stories and experiences, why don't we go through the basic specs of this vehicle. It is a Class 3 e-bike available for $2,700 for the base model. As you see now, it's got some options already that I filled out in the check boxes. I'm not one for optioning bikes. I like to do it myself, but I went to their website and like, whoa, give me that seat, give me that rack, give me that basket. So a few options here, but I will show you the base model as it comes. It does come with this handy dandy brass bell. So there's a big ecosystem of add-ons to it, and the add-ons are not just off-the-shelf add-ons. They're specially designed by Specialized to work with this bike and their other bikes, but also third-party stuff. A lot of the panniers, the racks, they just click in to this bike. So a fairly integrated but also open solution. So what powers this thing is a hub motor, a powerful one, I believe 900 watts, and it's got a torque sensor in the crank, so it knows exactly how to assist you, not that herky-jerky movement. The little controller here. And on the battery side, this is a 770 watt hour, even bigger than that famous Levo, and that's good for about a 60-mile range, with some undulation, some elevation. Another detail to speak of is integrated lights, front and rear, and this is super cool. It's up to 1500 lumens, designed in conjunction with Design, and they're big lenses. You know, they're not like little dinky little taillights, you know, because there's room, and they're low to the ground. Next thing to note is the load capacity of the bike is pretty staggering. It is 419 pounds, including rider. Not 420, 419. So if you're a light person, more cargo, you and cargo total 419 pounds. That's pretty good, huh? Next detail is it has 9-speed shifting with a 50 to 11 gearing. The frame is alloy, and so are the wheels, and it weighs about 75 pounds before the options I put in. Next detail, very striking, is the use of 20-inch wheels, little BMX wheels, with 3.5-inch fat tires. There's a very deep reason, very profound reason for using these kind of wheels that are fairly small. All right, another feature is it has a switch with a computer right on the left side of your handlebar. It's a pretty cool computer, very seamless, and it doesn't call attention to itself, but quite useful. You can see your range and your power level and whatnot. And it also has an optional throttle, not included with the base model, but highly recommended. With your light switch right here, 5 levels, I believe, with flashing, 1500 lumens, and your bell. It's a really neat yet functional cockpit. Another feature is this has a 1.5 by 150 quill stem. You know, quill, the old one? That way you can just raise it like that without too much ado. It goes pretty high. It also has a telescoping seat post that goes like this high. And one of the reasons for that is this is kind of a one size fits most. So it's easy to buy, only 2 colors, only one size. And they're saying it can fit riders from 4'5" to 6'4". And the last 2 features I'll talk about is it has a center mounted kickstand right here. Super cool because the bike's always like centered and you could do burnouts. And it has 3.5-inch tires that are very strong in the middle, especially. It rolls really good, but it has some real knobs on the side. They call it carless whisper. All right, the next part I'll talk about is, I think it's quite important, is it is a bike first and foremost. So I've had maybe 5, maybe 6 folks jump on this bike already, and no motor, just set the saddle and they go out rolling, and they're all like, wow, it's really easy to handle. It's easy to learn, tight steering radius. You know, it feels really balanced, low to the ground. The angles, the geometry always seems just about right for the task. And then another key they claimed to me was it does well with load, 200 pounds of load. So I didn't quite get there, but I had to try it. I loaded this up on a little expedition today, and it feels so good loaded up. Sometimes it feels even better because you load up the front, it feels more planted. No skitterish behavior here on corners for sure. And then I had my friend Travis, he dropped by and I said, hey, jump on the bike. And oh my God. I remember why he's called the gifted one in our group of riders. You'll see what he did. Wheelie, manual, stoppy, bunny hop. He goes, man, this bike's really fun and really easy to ride. I've had cargo bikes before and they were kind of noodly, hard to ride, difficult at low speed and unstable at high speed. This seems to have the bases covered. All right, the next part I'll cover is the design. This thing is designed with intent, kind of reminiscent of an Apple product, where the more you use it, the more it makes sense. You know, when I first saw the Apple AirPods, I'm like, what the heck is that? Why is it so expensive? But then every time you use it, you're like, wow, a lot of thought went into this. And I think the same vein went into this thing. They have a team of, I don't know, 30 that were involved with this project and the whole line of Globe cargo bikes. But everything from the packaging, the branding, you know, the manuals, it's so fun and so clear. It's just at a next level. And they really worked on the integration. Some of the ugliest bikes in the world ever made are e-cargo fat bikes. And this company clearly did not want to go there. They wanted to be on the other side of the spectrum. So a lot of time was spent integrating everything, designing everything, and even the battery, the spacing. It looks like it's part of the solution. When you see this stem and this bar, we're all like, wow, I'd like to have that on my real bike, and these racks. You know, quality all the way around. So premium materials, saddle. I always say, hey, give me the best saddle for my commuter bike, my e-commuter bike, because I can afford it anyway, right? And I'm going to be sitting a lot. I'm going to be using it a lot. Little belt, integration, everything is there, but kind of hidden. Look at that. There's a water bottle holder here. And then finally, they made it fun. You'll see what I'm talking about. There's many Easter eggs, many stickers. You know, Easter eggs as in things hidden in the bike that you're like, when you discover it 1 year later, you're like, oh my God, that's cool. All right, the next thing I'll talk about is the value proposition. And this is a different game from what Specialized is used to. Usually they try to hit the cream of the crop with the S-Works, right? $15,000 bike, very exclusive. This one, on the other hand, tries to be very attainable, you know, the bigger part of the pyramid. So a lot more people are gonna be biking because of this bike. $2,700 might be a lot, but if you consider this has all these electronics and motor and the premium stuff that went in here, it is an incredible value. My neighbor has one that's super cool, but it's $5,000 and it doesn't do half the stuff this does. So, so what they're gonna do is, you know, maybe make some money on the ecosystem of parts and the offering that they're gonna have. So they're gonna have so many accessories for this thing to personalize. But at the same time, they made it an open system. They said we want to adopt the standards for rack. So I'm trying to figure out how to put a Rotopacks in here, you know, to carry some beer or wine or something. The next subject I want to cover is the wheel size, the 20-inch wheel size. And I'm like, why are those wheels so small? You know, when I first saw the press release, I'm like, looks like a little child's bike. But really, there's a huge reason for it. And the main reason is space, efficiency, and center of gravity. A lot like the Mini Cooper has those little wheels, and they really work. They work to make that vehicle more spacious and also more agile. And these do it as well, because as you load it with cargo, the lower it is, the more stable it's going to be. You don't want your child sitting here all the way here. You know, you want them to be able to climb up easy and just be lower with you. Keep everything more stable. These things and the small wheels allow that. So really, it's a delight to corner this bike, to handle it, just weave like this. You're like, dang, you feel low to the ground. You feel more stable than the bike you've been riding the last 5 years. And me and Travis were just scraping these cargo baskets called cool caves. We're scraping on the ground. Oh, we better take them off and see how low we can lean this thing. Next subject I'd like to cover is their use of their hub motor and why. So I'm a huge proponent of mid-drive motors because it's more seamless. It's smooth. It's great on mountain bikes. Center of balance is great. But on this one, given their constraints and their objectives, they chose a hub motor. But the hub motor has a silver bullet, which is a torque sensor on the bottom bracket. So that allows it to deliver proportional power to the rider input as well. Torque sensor means it knows how hard you're pedaling. That way the hub motor can know how much to deliver. Before they were just cadence sensors, and they would just go full blast every time, and it was a herky-jerky experience. Hub motor is more space efficient because it uses that space in the wheel that's unused anyway. A mid-drive motor needs a big amount of space, especially if you wanted this kind of power. Another plus of the hub motor system is it's easy on the drivetrain. The reason is the power goes directly from the hub to the ground without going through the drivetrain. Thus, it's easy on the cassette, the chain, and the chainring because it doesn't add any extra load to it. On the flip side, a con of hub motors is they are rather noisy, especially at higher power levels. Also, even though it has a lot of power, it does not have a lot of low-end torque. It doesn't have a lot of gear reduction, so on climbing steep hills, one needs a lot of momentum. On this particular bike, the fact that it has really small wheels helps the hub motor apply a little more torque. The last two subjects I'll cover are the weaknesses of this bike and then the bottom line. So one weakness is not a big deal. is there's no throttle by default. You have to buy this as an option, or you have to know to buy this as an option. And I think that's going to confuse a lot of people, because this category of bike, they're sold with throttles, and people expect them. Very handy, as I find out, when you're fully loaded. Next weakness is the startup at level 3, 4, 5. When you're just pedaling slowly, is kind of rough. You know, it's kind of a little jerky. Just a little nit is one of the most iconic accessories to this bike. The Cool Cave, these bins right here are kind of noisy. You know, they'll rattle eventually if you want to take this on rough road, and they're kind of like drums. And they also collect water. So I love them, but they're not quite dialed. Another weakness is the ride is rough. This frame was built for sturdiness, rigidity. So you drop a curb, you're gonna feel it. A counter to that is you really need to watch your air pressures on your tire. 3.5-inch tire means you have a lot of room before you pinch, and you're not so concerned about rolling resistance and whatnot. So really optimize your tire pressure. Make it as low as possible for what you can get away with. Another weakness is there are no dropper posts involved, because this is a telescoping post. It was too complicated to do dropper. Dropper is pretty handy, you know, especially when the bike's fully loaded. Now you can do your own, maybe an externally routed one, or even a wireless one. This is just a standard 35mm dropper. In fact, I do have a Reverb wireless that I should try on this. And then the final weakness is, because it's a one size fits many, this angle of this is a little slack, and it does come back here when you are a tall person, so maybe not as ideal with a passenger. And a final weakness for me is the pedaling position seems a little bit off. The seat puts me back a little too far back. I'm 5'8", and my knees, it's hard to get them on top of the pedal. And I think it's because this is a one size fits all, so it's a little bit harder to fit. All right, bottom line, this is a solution that many people have been looking for. I can tell they invested a lot of time and man hours and talent on this thing. The other part of it is it's fun. It's smile inducing. Cargo bikes in general are just super fun. You know, I see all my friends with young kids, they put their kids here to bring them to school, always smiling. Oh, you know, they keep sending videos every day. Hey, here's my kid behind me. It's just smile inducing. And really, that time between the child and the parent, you know, that's quality time right there. Instead of being grumpy in the car and fighting the SUV hell to the school parking lot, you're just zooming by, zipping by, just smiling, hooting and hollering every time. And finally, I think this is an opening shot. The reason why there's so much going on with this bike is there's probably a much bigger effort from Specialized, the Globe line, into their cargo, their car replacement efforts. So you benefit just from this one little bike to a whole kind of shift in their strategy, their mental state, to really use their knowledge, their 50 years of experience, to offer this solution. You know, not just S-Works or super ultralight epic, you know, but really something that more people can use and really improve the globe, help the globe, you know, in pollution, fitness, and use of resources. All right, more to come on this series on the globe haul.